before I take you up the hill, that down there is the orchard where they were cutting the firewood, and they ran up that hill behind the old house, and they ran up that hill there, and then they ran all the way around the back and come across here and ran down here to get to the village, when all they had to do was run up the gully for half the distance. But you see, it wouldn't have made a film. Instead they had to run from there and head away from the village and up that hill, so that they could come along here and run down the hill to the village below. Zoom it out and you'll see this is total hilariousness of the situation. From the village they drove down the road, and when Hunter left he had to drive past the old orchard to get out, you see. But they ran from there up there, walked around the back, all the way around here, and come back down here to go over. Don't ask me why, but that is the site of the old Clearwater village, and where the dome was, and where my truck was parked, and the hill in the background. You won't recognise it now, but that pile of wood was part of the supporting structure for the dome after my uncle dismantled it, after the sheep demolished it in 1986, many years after the film had long passed into memory, except for those who lived around here. Anyway, still undercover. Some of the planks, some of the boards, some of the chipboard, most of the wood. BATTLETRUCK scenic props. Now I don't know if you can see them over there, but going up the side of that hill there is the remains of a stone rock fence towards those pylons. As I say, every fence on this farm, every fence was a stone fence. There's the remains of one there, there's a remains of some further over, there's the remains of some at the drafting shed, but the rest are all like this concrete wire post. How good is that? Just when I get back to the vehicle, there's a car in the distance coming down the road. You should see it coming around the point there about now, and it's going down behind the shed. Right, and that's just coming out around the point of the shed there now. Oh boy, I wish I could stand. Zoom in. No, it won't zoom any closer. Now it goes way into a gully there. Then it comes back out. And around another point here they come. Behind that tree. Up there. Coming down, they must be coming around the point soon. Oh, there's a bank there. I wouldn't have seen them coming around that point. Yeah, anyway, whoop, there's another one coming down the hill, way up in the distance there. Way up where the cement truck rolled off the hill and parked itself down to the left of that pylon, about halfway down the distance there. To the left of that pylon, I don't think you'll be able to see it. It's in shadow at the moment. Here's that car coming. Oh, ute truck, doing a fair honky speed. Looks like a vehicle with a trailer. Either that or a big truck. Could be a big truck. Looks like a big truck. Cut that hill out and see if we can see it. Come around the point there, what is it? Yeah, it's a truck. It's a truck, yep. Right. Well, it's been a while. It should be coming soon. I can hear him. I can hear him. Yep, okay, up the hill we go. Right, now there, seeing I'm off road, I'll go and show you what my granddad and my father built many years ago. Oh, beep. Hang on, get out of this thing. Zoomed out. That's how wide the fence is. I stand here and I cannot physically reach across the other side. Right? I'll lean over this here. I cannot touch that post over there. I'm a good 6 inches short of that post over there. Right? That's how wide it is. That's the stone walls that my granddad and my dad built. My dad was a little boy, about 2 or 3 years of age when they first shifted here, and by the time he was 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, he was old enough to help his dad. And by that time, Granddad was already building stone fences everywhere, and as you can see, behind that concrete post, there's another stone fence that goes up over the hill. Unfortunately, my uncle, with infinite wisdom, did away with all the stone fences and replaced them with concrete post and galvanised wire, because he wanted to sell all the rock to all these lovely people who had lots of money to build their houses. And then, because people wanted more and more and more, and he didn't have fences, that's when they opened the quarry. And away in the distance, as you can see, is that hill, the Dunstan Range, right, with the point on top, with the snow on top. And if I can get it in just the right place, you can find the point. Zoom it in close enough. Right, just above those clouds, just under those clouds. That's the hill that Hunter rode his motorbike across those flats to get to Clearwater village, which was here. Silly boy, rode away. Anyway, now Mr. Melville, or whatever your name is, the McGregors had their farm, their runhold, below the Crawford Hills. Because right here is the boundary fence. It goes across to that little post over there, and from thence it follows the fence down over the brow of that hill, crosses over the water race a bit further down, and follows the water race a good quarter to half a mile from the foot of the Crawford Hills, because that there on the left side of that post is Preston's Runhold Galloway station. It goes all the way around the back of there to the lower Mannaburn Dam behind Galloway. That there is the top access fence to McGregor's. That was their lucerne paddock. Whereas our boundary fence was right up under that hill, under the road. It followed the road all the way round the point, right round the point, right across the top of the hill, right to where the water race comes from the upper Mannaburn Dam. It drops over the top. We saw the Moa Creek Valley from the top of our section. You'd have to be on bloody high stilts to see over the top of this ridge from the bottom, to do the same from McGregor's. And as you can tell, sheep shed away in the distance. Young Hunter rode south, and then he started from Alexandra and rode across the hills towards the Old Woman Range over there behind the military, and then he went back to Alexandra and rode east towards Dunedin, towards Little Valley, and then they rode from the old house up past the quarry to Clearwater Village. As I said, all the wrong directions all over the place to get from there to here. Anyway, further up to find the boundary of our runhold, because that's the boundary of McGregor's. There. Climbing McGregor's boundary. Now you're on the steering wheel. Get out of the way, Teddy. Sorry about the angle, but I just slammed it in the bracket that I got attached above the steering wheel. I have no idea if it's pointing in the right direction. I hope so, because I'm driving and I ain't looking where the camera's looking. I'm just looking where I'm driving because of what I'm out of here today. Right, I'll stop about here, but I won't go over the bank because, right, way in the dim dark distance here, if I get my hand out of the way, is McGregor's boundary that follows that water race. And you can tell the difference between the green and the brown. The green is McGregor's below the water race. Above the water race is Preston's Runhold with no irrigation. Our land, of course, goes from the fence all the way down the gully to the water race, which follows around the corner. Now see this in the distance there, you can actually see there's a couple of stone fences still there. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 all told. Way down in the bottom of that gully, in fact on the other side of that gully is a fence, and when I zoom out you'll see how far away it is. That's one side of the boundary, and over there at the road is the other side of the boundary, and all the way down past the house, and I'll zoom in again, all the way down past the house, down past everything else to that way in the distance. You can barely see it. Deep gorge is about 3 miles away, possibly more. So I got around the point and I realised I hadn't stuck you on the steering wheel. See, you have no idea where I'm going. Okay, carrying on. This still is a single lane road. Now you wouldn't believe that in 2 foot of snow with 6 inches of hard pack and the winter of, oh, I can't remember when it was. I think it was it just before BATTLETRUCK? No, it was 72, 73, 74, 70, no, it must have been 73. I still had the RV125, so it'd be 73, 74. The 74 heatwave rally come through here, and a Scotchman in a Hillman Avenger Alpine took 17 minutes to get from the top of this hill to the Galloway railway station, which is a distance of 7 miles, at 2 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, hard frozen packed snow underneath, and about 1 foot to 2 foot of snow on the road and on the hills around. He did it in just 17 minutes. Even in the middle of summer, going downhill flat knackers on a trail bike, took around about 25 minutes. Because I was scared of the corners. And as you can tell, there's a big deep gully down here. And I'm not going to look over the side. I'll push the camera around to the side. And this is so steep, push it back again. It is so steep, there's rock retaining walls holding the road up. Now I can stop around here because my uncle had an access road over the side about there. Yep, there's the gate. Right, get off here. There's the gate there to the upper reaches of the hill, because below that pylon, on the other side of that gully, you can just make out a fence down there, where that little road goes down to the gully down there. The other side of that there is where the fence goes, all the way down along the side of that hill, across the side of that hill, all the way down the straight line to that gorge. And of course it still goes up the other side of that. Now, there was a bread truck come down. In fact, I think there's a Holgate transport truck dumped over their side, but where that rock scree is over there, in there was a bread, I think it was a bread truck or something like that. The guy come down, he felt the steering go all funny on him. He climbed out of the cab, he put the handbrake on, he put all his brakes on. As soon as he took his foot off the foot brake, the handbrake didn't hold on the gravel hill, and the truck slid forward and rolled over the bank. And that was the end of his steering. Of course, people forget that when they're on a steep gravel road and they got their foot on the foot brake, every wheel on the vehicle is locked. But the handbrake only holds the back wheels of the truck. The front wheels had no brakes, the trailer had no brakes, the whole pot went. Bread, anyone? Oh, and down there, on that little piece of flat ground down there, this side of the pylon, you may see in the paddock a hunk of concrete. That's where the concrete truck ended up after it rolled off the bank over there. Going further, pausing. Right, we're in the snow now. Now this, many moons ago, I'll open that with the wind, God knows it's too cold. Many moons ago, I took a colour photo down through there using my sunglasses as a sunshade, and it looks like Arizona. But that is where I started the video for the trip to AJ Hackett's and the Crown Range Road and the trip to Queenstown, etc. Many videos ago. I think 0191 or 0910 I think was the first video that I did of that area, and that shows the distance. Now that there, if I zoom it in, it is zoomed in. I'll have to grab my glasses because I can't see diddly because the sun's shining and I'm getting reflection of everything. Right. Zoom it out. Zoom it in. Down there in the dim dark distance is Grandma's house, is the first thing you can see. Behind that, away in the distance, I don't know if you can see it, you can't, probably just above Grandma's house, away in the distance, just below that orange bit, is Deep Gorge. In fact, that's the hill behind Deep Gorge. And we're going to go up there now to the top end of our farm, up through that gully, because this point is where the road disappears round the corner on its last stage to go to Mile Creek, because Black Ridge goes from there on. This here is the Crawford Hills, and it's the Black Ridge from there on. That Black Ridge goes all the way along to Ophir and Bex. Right. Now, my grandfather was a blacksmith as well as a farmer, and he used to ride his bike up this old road. It wasn't formed then, it was only a mud track. He rode it to the top of this hill, and he rode along the top of there every Saturday afternoon. Oh, sorry, every Sunday afternoon, evening. He rode all the way up to Falls Dam at the other end of the valley, 50 miles away. Because for 5.5 days of the week he was a blacksmith at Falls Dam. And for 1.5 days of the week he farmed 500 acres down here. And my dad and my uncle, later on myself, and my sisters, all of our family helped. Unfortunately, my grandfather wore himself out. He was 60 in 1944 when my dad was in the prison camp when he died of a heart attack. And Grandma and my uncle and the rest of us worked it ever since. We are almost at the top end of our run. The fence comes up just beside the road, and the other fence is just over the top of that hill, and there's where the irrigation race pops over the top, and I'll take you to the extent of our run hole. We have in the distance, I'll just pocket up the bank here. That down there, folks, is Moa Creek and the Pulburn Dam in the distance, and the Upper Manburn Dam where that water race comes from. And that is our boundary fence. There. On the Moa Creek side of Black Ridge, and on the Moa Creek side of Crawford Hills, because there's the fence going down beside the road there. Okay, Mr. McGregor's cousin, my dim dark relative, that's the water race at the top of the hill. That's our boundary fence going across it. That's on side looking down. So I don't know where your McGregor's got their Crawford Hills Run road from, because it sure as hell didn't go to the top of the Crawfords. That's our boundary fence. There's the top gate. Okay, it's a Taranaki gate, but it was still the top gate. The boundary fence is a little bit further over that goes down the other gully. Right. Preston's Run hold. In fact, yeah, Preston's Run hold, there's a boundary fence up in here between Preston's Run hold and the guy from the other side there. But we had, half a kilometre of Moa Creek side of the hill, because that's the point of the hill there. See? And that's the gully, that's the road down. And there's the Old Woman Range in the distance. Well, there's a knob on top, almost hidden by that horrible dirty snow cloud that's coming. Right, so there you have it, people. Our boundary. When we come up to get sheep on the top of the run, we could see Moa Creek. All the McGregors could see was the foot of that hill. Right, bang you back on the steering wheel again, and we will go down. Hang on, I better make sure it's zoomed out, because if it's not, it'll be all funny for you. Zoom it out. Push it in about the right place. That's it. Alright, now sorry about the sun, but we're heading straight into it. Which is why I'm in a super low box, because this piece of road is tricky. In fact, I'll stop here and show you why this piece is tricky. Down there. Get back on the wheel. I can't see it. I'm not getting that close to it. I wonder if I can see it looking around the other side there. There you go. Gully from the other side. Now get back. Okay. Oh, sweet. Watch out, Rosie. Yeah. Now I'll just let this thing run to the end of this video. I have no idea, I think it's about 160 odd megabytes left on it. It was the last time I looked. But I'm driving, you watch the road, because I can't be stuffed watching the road. I just got to watch where I'm driving. Now, I don't know if you know the steepness of the road. See if I can see. There's a puddle here. That's the back end of the puddle there, and there's a big deep piece over there, because that's the angle. It drops about 1 foot and 6 foot, sorry if it's bouncing around because the corrugations on this road are something ferocious. Or ferocious or horrible, or as I call it, ferocious because it's ferociously horrible. I don't know if you can see it there, and I'll see if I can buy it. I'll put it inside there. She's sweet. There's plenty of room if someone wants to pass. Put it inside there. She's sweet. Right. Now, zoom in. Way down there in the distance, there's a green paddock on your right and a brown run hold on the left, which is a good quarter of a mile from the base of the hill, which goes up there, which is the Crawford Hills. Now the demarcation line is the water race. Green on the bottom side, McGregor's. Brown on the top side, Preston's run hold, with a good quarter of a mile of flat to the bottom of the hill. Yeah, I can't be bothered doing any more. Stuff it, that'll do. That's long enough. Okay. BATTLETRUCK was filmed down in that little gully down there, that immediate gully in the distance, that first black gully. Behind the black gully in the distance with my grandmother's house. And behind that, even further down the road, was the wool shed. And away in the distance there is that line of hay bales. And even further away, you can just see a glistening down the line. You can't see glistening Galloway. There's one of the houses where BATTLETRUCK had their encampment. Well, that's right, they had their encampment down there. Quarter of a mile short of the railway line. The encampment with the big oil dump was down there. All they had to drive was up this one road to get to Clearwater village. But they drove into Alexandra, 8 mile away. They drove out Little Valley. Then they drove all the way across that plains, so they got across the back there towards the hill, and then they drove all around Earnscleugh just to travel 6 mile up and down this road. Amazing what you can do in a film when people don't know the area. But for people like me who do, totally hilarious where they went just to get 4 or 5 miles up the road. Bye bye. One last picture. I'm out of the van. This is that great big clay cliff that you can see from Alexandra, which is way down there in the distance. You can see it from Clyde, which is way over there. This is the great big clay point on the Crawford Hills Road. This is the great big clay blob of prominence. Now it's a horseshoe bend from there all the way around there to there. Now in the old days it was as narrow as most of the rest of it, but you see, because great big trucks use this, they've bulldozed this thing now into a number 8 highway almost. You could get 5 cars across there. But simply it has to be like that so the truck and trailer units can get round this tight corner, which is exactly why I parked off the road over there. With my brand new tyres. Look at that, brand new feet. Just on today. Finally not driving on bald tyres anymore. Anyway.